Right. Let's see if it don't pause again now, like the last time. Right. This is what I'm reading. Okay. So there. See it? That page. Got it? Now, he says, moreover, right living itself. Now I'm going to pause again now. Moreover, right living itself will lead a man on to wisdom, which means the eternal state of being, which is Brahman. This is a state of complete detachment in which works have no more relevance in it. Attachments gone, deliverance won, his thoughts are fixed on wisdom. He works for sacrifice alone, and all the works he ever did entirely melts away. 1v.23. It cannot be denied that there is a contradiction here. Works should be done in a spirit of complete detachment, but it is the detachment that counts, not the works. When you put your hand in a cutlery drawer and you get a spoon out and you pass it to somebody, that's the works. When you turn away not thinking about it, that's the detachment. Don't expect a thank you, please, or anything, because you don't want it. When you're in a lorry stop and you pass somebody a cup and saucer so they can make a cuppa without thinking about it, or in a cafe, they pass you a cup and saucer, or a tray, that's the works. And the detachment is, you just do it because it's the right thing to do. That's the detachment thing. Not for self-praise. Self-praise makes you have attachment. But it is the detachment, and that counts, not the works. Detachment, that's more than about the cup and saucer and the passing of the tree. Detachment leads to liberation, and the self, once liberated, sees the essential irrelevance of works, and yet Krishna in a supreme paradox goes on to say, let a man in spiritual exercise, yoga, all works renounce. Let him by wisdom his doubts dispel. Let him be himself, and then, whatever his works may be, they will never bind him more. And so take up the sword of wisdom, cut, this is capital T, doubt of thine, unwisdom's child, still lurking in thy heart. Prepare for action, yoga, now, stand up! Exclamation mark. 1v.41-2. I'll read it without the brackets, okay? Let a man in spiritual exercise all works renounce. Let him by wisdom his doubts dispel. Let him be himself, and then his works, they will never bind him. And so the sword of wisdom cut, capital letter T, this doubt of thine, and wisdom's child, still lurking in thy heart. Prepare for action, comma, stand up. 1v.41-2. Krishna here uses the word yoga in two senses. In the first verse, he uses it in the sense of what we understand by yoga, that is spiritual exercise. Now, in the West, we are taught yoga is just an exercise, physical exercise like PE or swimming. But in Hindu, yoga is a state of mind, a state of spirit. They teach the written word about it. The yoga teacher is called a yogi, like Yogi Bear, Yellowstone Park. And he steals picnic baskets. Well, the yogi word is the teacher word of a yoga writings. They teach the writings of it. We don't have here. In the first verse, he uses it in the sense of what we understand by yoga. That is spiritual exercise. And in the second verse, he uses it in its mundane sense, yogam atish sa, which could be exactly translated in colloquial English as get cracking. And yet, in the next chapter, we are again told that detachment is the one virtue that ultimately leads to the nirvana of Brahman. No. And in the next chapter, we are again told that detachment is the one virtue that ultimately leads to the nirvana of Brahman. Sacred word, it means Brahman. It says, and this in turn enables the aspirant, and that means breathless, person without breath, person without no breath. Aspirant, that's the person who doesn't got no breath. And this in turn enables the aspirant, person with no breath, inside the person, to know Krishna and the person of God as Lord of all the worlds, friend of all contingent beings. Contingent beings is the human being with breath. According to these ways, this is written anyway. This is new, for obviously Krishna is making a distinction between himself and the nirvana of Brahman. The transition between the old idea of becoming Brahman and partaking it. For that is the root meaning of Bhakti. The essence of the personal God has now been made. Don't forget, in Christianity, in Catholicism, every person got a guardian angel. That would be classed kind of like a deity and personal God, kind of like, because they do what the Catholics God believes. God believes. They do what the Catholic God believes is the guardians of the human they inhabit. That's what Catholics believe. So the becoming Brahman is your guardian spirit, in the Catholic way or Bible way. But in the Bible way, it says the same thing. Lord of all the worlds, friend of all contingent beings, says the same in the Bible. Says also in thing was called Prince of Peace, the Machiavellic one, I think. Something like that it is. Similar words. I'm not sure if it's friends of contingent beings, means living beings with a brain and who breathes. The other ones don't breathe. They don't need to. They're called guardian angels by the Christians. Not Christians, by the Catholics. The transition between the older idea of becoming Brahman and partaking in it, for that is the root meaning of Bhakti, which Bhakti used to be a bread, but now it's seen here with a different meaning. So they must have changed it from being a bread to remind people what it is in this book, to keep the name alive. Yeah. You say it when you go to the shop to buy a piece of bread. That's what they say. Bhakti. You don't say it like that because you've got different dialect, but you know what I mean. The essence of the person of God has now been made. That's your guardian angel according to Catholics, same one. In chapter V1.15, we are shown that there is no contradiction between the two ideas. Becoming Brahman means that the integration H dash comma uniting from the same root as yoga of all a man's faculties into the immortal self. This is nirvana, and nirvana in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So far from being a state independent of any personal god, as it is with the Buddhists, in fact subsists in him, or in him or women created by him. That's what is said. But listen to this now. If you go into floatiness and you give yourself up to the Brahman, and you forget all the personal stuff, you have no personal stuff. You have no marriage. You have no husband. You have no husband. You have no children. You have no personality at all. You only have the Brahman. That's it. Nothing else exists. And the world falls away like it's invisible. And it doesn't count for nothing. That's when you're in Brahman. And you're in Nirvana. But it's like when you watch the internet and you're playing games on the PlayStation and they sit there by the chair. You sitting on the chair opposite the computer screen or the phone or the TV or whatever. And you're a bag of bones in a bag of skin. And you've forgotten to eat and drink and everything else. That's Brahman. And you're in absolute bliss with it. So without somebody hanging around your ass, making sure you eat your food, you wouldn't exist for very long in your Nevada. You would become non-existent because you would die. Because you wouldn't go to the toilet, you wouldn't pee, you wouldn't poo, you wouldn't eat, you wouldn't drink. That's your Nirvana. Nirvana. But you will be with your God. That's what I tried to explain to Jane and John down in the church when I went down there to visit. I said, you do realize what it means when you want to be with your God Jesus? She said, yes, she does understand. Him and nobody else. I said, yeah. You will have no husband. You will have no children. You will have no grandchildren. You will be nothing apart from you and your God. That's it. Nothing else will exist. They'll all be gone. Your memories of everyone. The memories of your anniversaries and your Christmases and your Easters and everything else. They're gone. They will be. That's you and Jesus together on your own. No one else involved. Do you realize what that means? I upset her because I told her the truth. I upset her and made her cry. But I told her she will be with God. Yes, she will. 100%. But she won't remember her husband. She won't remember her parents. She won't remember her children and grandchildren. They will not exist. That's what it means by wiping away the tears of sorrow. You won't have any sorrow because you won't fucking remember them. And that's what Brahman is, and Nirvana. Same. And it's the same in the Quran. And the same in every book. They say the same thing. They don't take you away from your family. They don't take you away from your children and grandchildren. You get taken by God. And you will never, ever remember them again. You just walk out the door and will never come back. That man down there, right? He's taken by God because he believes his Bible book. Been a preacher for a long time. That woman still turns around and says, that's his religion, not mine. She still says it to him, about him, standing right next to him. They've been together for years. That's his nirvana. He's got somebody there to make sure he eats his food, drinks his cup of tea, goes to the toilet, wears a clean collar. Because without that, he'd be dead already, years and years ago. That's what he means by being taken by God. Any fucking God, no matter what, never matter whether it's Buddha or the one in the Quran or the engineering one. It's all the same God. One is done by men, the Indian engineering one done by scientists using this. Ordinary people without the consent. Well, that's one page done. I'm having a cup of tea now. But yeah, what it means when I say I upset I did. I didn't mean to. I thought she knew what she was on about when she said she wants to can't wait to be with God, her God, when she passes away. Eventually. I said, I don't realise what it means. It means you want to remember your husband. You want to remember your parents, grandparents, your friends, your family, nobody. They won't exist in your memories. And people are like that now, even though their families are sitting all around them in the living room. And they're taken by God to somewhere else. So yeah, if you give yourself up to it in living time, make sure you set an alarm for breakfast, dinner and tea. Make sure you set an alarm for in between, have a cups of tea in between. Make sure you write a diary of what day it is. Make sure you write down it every time you get up in the morning and every time you go to bed. So you can remember to get up and get up and get out of bed. Make sure you write it down. If you're ever taken by your God. Schedule on an alarm clock what time to go to the toilet for pee, because you forget. Write on a piece of paper on a desk or something when you change your shirt last. And your socks. Make sure you write in the morning and the night when you took your socks off, when you put them back on. Make sure you put them in a basket or a bin and fetch them down and put them straight in your washing machine the same day. Don't leave them outside. Well, that's about it, I think. You should be alright. You should survive your Brahman and you never bother about anybody about if you live on your own. Oh, and make sure you do a half an hour walk every day to a local shop and back, so the locals know you exist. Buy your milk and your bread for the day, and whatever food you want to cook. Oh, and cook everything fresh. Don't cook everything like if you cook food every single day, you don't have alcohol in it. But if you cook it and eat it the following day, you'll have alcohol in it. So don't do that. Only cook enough for the same day, then half an hour the following day, go down and get your food, come back. Don't do it a couple of days or 2 days food, because you end up with lactic acid in it from it fermenting and storing in the fridge. I have found out. And if you've been taking with you got to be teetotal, no allowed alcohol. You don't like it when you drink. Anyway, that's enough for today.